They're also, they spoil brats.
Yeah, it's in there.
I concur with that.
There's a Dropbox. If you're invited, you should have access just by clicking on the link.
Mine is still low.
It's on, it says live, you said live.
Yeah, it says live before
You-
you see that it's done.
Are we starting live? Are we live on YouTube? Okay, we're live on YouTube.
My staff had to create like a table of contents.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey. Good luck.
Hi there. Good to see you. What's your name again?
Frank Leggett, how are you?
He said it, I didn't.
There you go. See, just walk in the door, all the bantering starts.
So easily forgotten, aren't we?
For the record, we're live right
We got a new person checking sheet.
You can't be forgotten.
Okay.
No, we never forget him. He's too independent. He's too independent to get elected up there and,
That's right. So much for having a mind of your own.
yeah. Well, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. First order of business is roll call, please.
Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
Tim Robinson.
Here.
Ian Bruno.
Here.
Craig Leggett.
Here.
David Bryan.
Here,
Okay, we have a quorum, 5 out of 5.
we have an aquarium, good, ready to go. First is the order of business is approve the minutes from the November 8th, 2023 IDA Executive Part Meeting. I have such a motion.
I make.
Motion by Dan, second by Juan. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next order of business is Canal Side Master Plan update.
Sure. We met yesterday at 1 o'clock at the office of Labella to review the outstanding items, if you will. You're all aware, I think, that the Fast New York grant has come through. However, with those grants, I don't know if you're aware of it, it's not an automatic thing. So it'll be about 3 or 4 months before we actually have the award. if you will. The phase 3 on the wastewater basis of design is completed. The wastewater detailed design was updated with comments. The water basic design comments that we submitted to develop and incorporated here. And water detailed design, I believe, is complete. The we need a map plan report for both wastewater and water. The wastewater, we should have that according to Labella before the holidays.
How complete of a plan is that? How detailed?
They're not generally really detailed. It shows, a map plan shows the area, if you will, and some detail as to what you're gonna do, you know, lines and shit.
Size of lines and stuff? Does it
yeah.
get that detailed?
But it's not a construction document, it's not a detailed document in that sense. But it gives you all the information as to where and what is going to occur. It's not something that DEC will review the final design. And that's the next phase. This level goes to 90%. In other words, what Labella has been working on for the past year or so is a 90% submission, if you will. 90%. It's not 100% detailed design, not a construction level document. That's the next phase that we're working on. Primarily Mr. Holmes working on the RFP to get us to that 100%. That would be submitted to DEC for their review. Get us to 100% and construction. That will be complete. What do you say, mid-February or something?
I think that's gonna end up being part of the discussion, but
Yeah.
yeah, probably February, but that's all gonna come down to scheduling and desire of the board to a certain extent. But there's a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
Desire of the board to get it done by 1st February. Ready to go.
Well,
Okay,
Used to be until it found out, found past New York, it was gonna be, in a year or so. Past New York got it pushed out. Might as well take extra time.
Juan, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me, for those of us knee deep, this will be a review, you can check your email, but for those that haven't had an update since the last board meeting, let us go through. We had a meeting on 27 November, that's the internal team getting ours to make sure we're staying on track. 29 November, a second internal meeting. We met with Fast New York on 4 December, and yesterday we met with the canal side, the entire team to wrap up the pre-engineering with Labrella and the MBRC grant. We've got some taskers out of there to get us to completion, everything that Mr. Bruno has said. And again, till we lock down HUD and Fast New York actual pay schedules, right now is the worst part for our engineers because we're kind of trying to balance it all. We don't want to incur costs until we know that we can actually get reimbursed before completion. And so that's kind of, the struggle right now is when do we move, when do we not move? Fast New York, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we should have a better idea of their schedule. But those funds may not be available till April, assuming that we can get quarterly reimbursements, which is a question that we're trying to get answered. And then all the engineering details, Bob and Dan. Yeah.
So our strategy for doing this is to pay as much as we can out of our own pocket. Regardless of this reimbursement.
Because
Gives them about 8% interest.
Prime rate.
How much?
Well,
Eight
well,
percent.
Rate,
8.5%.
Yeah,
so you're saying if you borrowed, if the IDA borrowed,
8.5%, as
so pay out of our own pocket to get,
much as we
Okay.
can.
say that,
because we need to borrow to. It's a reimbursable grant,
Reimbursable grant.
so altogether we'd be coming up to. At least that 4.7 million is what we would need to be approved for on borrowing. Even though it would not be all at once, but I
Right,
think
I
you need to bond for the whole thing, or.
I think that when we talked to Mark Gallo, he's talking about two separate loans, one that's backed by the HUD contract, one that's backed by the other one. Gonna be a cash flow management issue,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
know.
Mr. Chairman, I misspoke, the tax exempt would be, less than 8.5.
7.5.
does the grant
It's just
require
a
you to provide ability to, or
Hmm.
have all the funds up front? Show that you have the,
I don't think so. I think that if you do, would just go out and go to the bank and say, here we are, and here they are, we just need the contracts signed, to get the authority to borrow.
right, so, but they require you to submit that, right? As part of the grant?
I have not seen that. And all I've seen, I've not seen that.
depends, some of them do
Yeah.
require that you.
That's right.
Yeah,
All the paperwork I've seen, I haven't seen it yet, but we haven't seen it.
it may not be this one, I'm not that familiar with Fast New York, but others I've been involved with, to your point, yes, you need to demonstrate that you can do this.
You've gone through the process.
That's right.
Yeah, and you're.
It's like the CBDCs
Yeah.
and all, yeah.
To accomplish your goal, so then they'll reimburse you. That in itself is, people that aren't familiar with it, it's not it can be a lengthy process. It's not like they're gonna hand you a check. They're gonna,
Audit, scrutinized.
Right, they go through all the
Yeah.
invoices.
Yeah.
We had two things, is the letter they sent was confusing because it mentioned both items. But then we had asked them back before we submitted the Fast New York grant, if it was quarterly reimbursement. We have a letter that says yes. So we need to figure that out. Within that, I can't see why they wouldn't do it. But if not, while it will be heavier cost in construction, there'll still be outflow of money up front. In terms of that, we're gonna have to balance how we're gonna do it.
Do we have an idea of how much that we would need to cover this engineering and upfront, you know, these?
You're probably talking 25%.
Isn't that coming out in the map plan report?
No.
The map plan report does not designate what the construction drawings costs are gonna be, or the.
That's the
There's
board
there's some
basis of
initial
design.
projections.
Yeah, but it's.
No, the basis of design, that's
Basis of
correct.
design has that,
The
not
basis
not
of
the
design.
NPR.
Okay.
NPR just to create a district.
Okay,
BOD is basis design.
Correct.
The NPR is just for people, when you put it in front of them, they say, okay, here's what they're gonna do, here's the pipe, blah, blah, blah. And the report is part where it tells you how it's gonna get done or sort of thing. But a lot of times, you may include the cost, an estimate.
well, in my experience from map plan reports, which is pretty simple and limited, it's coming up on what's the cost to the average household and things like that when you're dealing with wastewater and water. So
Yeah, it-
you need to come up with,
If-
this is your first year and second year costs of this stuff.
It is a bit more simplified because yes, there's two property parcels. I look at it as one, it's so, wholly, it's gonna have the same implications. You're basically identifying your benefit tax, or I think Washington County uses the ad valorem or more of that, and then ultimately they'll establish projections for what user rates are and what your initial tax assessment would be. Well, not your tax assessment, what your tax bill would be based on your assessment.
Mhm. But you're starting with some numbers.
There's numbers, but it's not directly your construction numbers. It's actually your numbers for operations and maintenance of the new infrastructure. And then the user fees, for operations at the plant, things of that nature.
Okay.
And remember that the 950 from HUD is, that when drawn, I think it's quarterly reimbursements. So that's 950,000, so we can use that as a vehicle. We have a 30% override in there, so hopefully that's gonna cushion some of that. We just won't know if we get a construction. The other tack we could use is to do the sewer. And do the water as a separate, as a follow-up project. So it depends on what the reimbursement comes through with me. We'll see.
And to make matters more interesting, there are multiple third parties. We have water district, sewer district, canal board, DEC, town, village. So there's a lot of moving parts here that need to be synchronized.
That's why we hired engineers to do that.
So like I said, right now is most of the engineers are struggling because we've got to figure out the funding before we can full on execute it. It's just a waiting game until we have, we've already started talking with Fast New York. We're expecting the answers on that by the end of December. So I'm really, after the holidays, January, February, we'll really have good answers to a lot of these questions that we're kind of up in the air. We will.
I was gonna say, how do you know?
We will. Because one of the things that we talked about was the timing for Fast New York on their board schedules and their public hearing schedules, and we know our deadline for that. And so we're gonna meet that deadline. The documents that we have, we just got one more document on the 4 that they need, and they're already working with the ESD on making sure that that's submitted properly. So we'll be ready for their signature.
Is Fast under EFC?
ESD. Yeah. More to follow. Anything else?
So that's all I have. for-
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Any questions? Other questions? Okay.
There's a lot of.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I said, engineers are struggling right now.
Downside prospects?
Just high level updates. We continue to have new interest in the property. Recently, we've had a light manufacturing company out of Rochester looking to come to the eastern side of New York State, express interest, talk with the owner, provide information, waiting to hear back. Also had a call from a site selector looking for AI data centers. Big project and they need a lot of power and our site has power. Again, provide the information and you just wait and see. So there's nothing coming out of this that we should all be excited about, but just illustrating that there's continued interest on the site. Yes.
I'll ask as I have before, have we heard anything more on the hemp?
Nope.
Big flurry and then disappear.
Yeah.
Good.
The AI on the site for which site?
And outside. That's it in prospects.
Okay. Fence project, I think it's completed.
Fence project is completed and Canal Corp signed off on it yesterday. So we're all set. It looks good.
Happy with the
Oh,
gate.
They were happy with the gate. Yeah.
Does that- Does that mean the yellow gate can stay open during the daytime?
Yes, and then Kiewit is closing it in the evening and on weekends.
The,
So,
the yellow one too?
no, not the yellow, I'm sorry, no, not the yellow one. Yellow one needs to be, what Chairman is referring to is the yellow gate right off of East Street. That one is to remain locked. But when you come in that, now there's only 2 gates to get through the canal side. There used to be 3, now there's only 2. The second one at our property canal side, Kiewit maintains and closes it at night for security purposes.
That's
So-
over on the,
That's our chain
North side.
link fence.
and that's coming from the, lock 8.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
North end.
Correct. And the only other thing to mention, we've had 2 complaints from neighbors about lights. I was able to talk with Kiewit, actually go to the neighbors, see the light problem, talk with Kiewit. And Kiewit suggested lights, and the neighbors now 2 neighbors are very happy. So quickly resolved.
They're very happy. Or just-
They suggested very,
Good.
but hopefully
He was
that will,
cautious about
that will continue.
Okay. Bridge update, not much. I think that, I'll send an email. We should set up a meeting with Kiewit, with Deb Donahue, with us, and with the bridge engineer, talk it over,
Yeah.
especially the schedule. As we talk down there's things Kiewit has done or we have to do to get ready for it. We'll see.
Question I have is, do we know the approximate time frame for construction, or that's out there and we don't know?
Well, the schedule I got was sent out, which I'll. Can't remember, I think you got it on, I think you were on, I think Chuck was on it, I think Dan was on it, was that the schedule they're looking at is sometime in 2024. Summer. It's gonna collide with Kiewit being there, so.
Well, I'm also looking, is it gonna collide with anything on infrastructure?
I can't guess at this point.
Okay,
I don't have a schedule on.
that's all something that, depending on how it comes, it's,
It's a point well taken because that where the sewer line is going to be run is right where the alternative entrance is being planned. So it's a point well taken.
it.
Just to be
If it's
clarified, we
2024,
think summer 2024, or was it summer 2025?
24.
24.
Oh, wait a minute.
I think it's
25. 25.
25.
I think it's 25. yeah.
We got a little breathing room. Yeah, thank you.
And is the bridge engineer from
no, that's worse.
Stable or they're
No,
Possibly.
It's Brown and Associates
I think we-
at Albany.
hired over the county?
Yes,
That's what I'm saying. We can remember the number you.
we'll talk about it and see what's going on. I mean, what is, I don't remember, but I think most of there is gonna be. Most of there is gonna be the directional drilling, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's still gonna be disruption.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do it in the canal then.
Just happening.
And I imagine on replacing that bridge, you're still gonna maintain one lane, right?
Can't,
Not at all.
not wide enough. Not wide enough to get trucks over there. Well, that's actually one piece. They have to lift the whole piece off.
Oh, is it one piece?
It's all one piece. They flip the whole piece
Big
out.
piece.
You can't split it. So, but if you're going out that other exit,
Yeah.
you know, what figured out. But the bill status, we're supposed, we talked about, it, we're supposed to be finishing up with them in the next 4 weeks. Everything in business, so. Go for there. Any other unfinished business? To cover? New business, Craig brought up a good, not Craig. Juan and I talked about a couple things, is that it's strange to have a governance committee, executive committee and governance committee all be the same people. We suggesting that we break it up a little bit, to get more people involved. Versus controlled by one, essentially one committee. So the executive committee can't change. We're suggesting, I'm suggesting that for discussion, the governance committee be changed to include the chair, the vice chair, and then I'm thinking about two other positions. So it'd be 4 altogether, and 2 other positions be picked from people who are not on the executive committee. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So this will need to change to the bylaws. So if we do change the bylaws, we would then have to do that, get it out to the members at least, what, a week ahead of time?
Yeah, I'll have to double check that. We have to change the charter too.
What are you making?
A governance committee. Get input from different people. I mean, it shouldn't be the same 5 people doing everything.
No,
So
and 3 people who are done.
So you're agreeing with the change?
Oh, I don't care. One way or another, that's your
He
business.
agrees.
So you agree that 5 people are doing anything and 2 people are doing
I
nothing?
believe that when we first heard this 10 years ago when the state won,
So you're
it
agreeing?
was all gonna get into one big pot of nothing.
So we're agreeing,
it's 5 and 5.
arguing, but we're still agreeing. while we're arguing.
It's 5 and 5, by the way.
All right, fine, yeah.
So. Governance committee, I think that, maybe nominating committee should be consistent, the same thing. Pick different people, but. So. What?
I'm just thinking back those days when we argued on the whole thing. We had no argument. We, meaning the IDAs, had no argument. The state said, this is what we want you to do.
They didn't tell you what,
They didn't tell you how to do it.
they didn't tell you what the makeup of the committees was.
No.
That's up to us. We just took the easy way around, we just took the easy way out.
That's fine if you are in New York City, but when you're here, when you have about 8 people.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, Nick. We're trying to split up the executive nominating governance committee to include other people. I'm not sure what
I
you're
know,
talking about.
I agree. I'm just saying it's been carried on for years. It's the right thing to do. I'm agreeing.
Okay, all right. I was having a hard time following you there.
Well, I was too.
So nominating. Okay. Everyone agree, 2 and 2? Okay. Anyone have any different flavor of the combination? Having said none,
I think it's a good idea.
we'll have Kara write the rules and put it together. The second thing is I'm asking that we put the COO position back in. As an unpaid volunteer in it. Part of the thought is that as I start to move and step away, is that having a COO position would allow me to stay involved a little bit more. If I'm on the board, if I'm off the board and replaced by someone else, I'm just trying to think in the future. Is having some input in there, have ability to potentially have a new board member come in from Washington County, get someone started, and yet I could maintain, or anyone you prefer, could maintain some contact and exposure to the organization. And that's my reasoning for it. So
What's the responsibilities of the COO?
whatever the board directs. Same thing as a CEO and, administrator and CFO.
Oh,
And the CFO, okay? I think that's the way it's worded in the bylaws.
I think it's CFO and bylaws, right?
Yes.
CFO in the bylaws, yeah. Yeah, okay. So that deals with, I was just looking at the park committee, the park chair is selected from the at-large members from the executive committee. So in here, you've got park chair in there, it should drop one of the at-large members and the park chair in there. Because the park chair is chosen from the executive committee. In audit and finance. Looks okay. However, we got Tim Robinson, the CFO in there, so we don't need to reiterate the CFO because the CFO is automatically on the audit committee.
Does the CFO here is appointed by the chair and shall not be a member.
It was, I did read that. Oh, no, I read it. Oh, but it is what I'm,
But you're a member, right?
it's where we're at, yeah. That may have to be
What do you
changed.
think about that, Karen?
I thought you were treasurer.
He is treasurer.
Treasurer.
But it says
CFO.
CFO.
Treasurer.
Well, we don't have a CFO.
Okay, good. So
Okay.
then we're
It's a
okay.
treasurer. We don't need a treasurer and a CFO.
We were using that loosely.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out why I came in here.
Any of those titles don't really fit me anyway, so I'm okay with
How
dropping it.
about, how about treasurer?
I'll take
Okay,
treasurer.
we're all set. Okay, I was confused.
Treasurer's fine.
Yeah, so then just make CEO,
CFO, we have to appoint one.
CEO. We have a treasurer, why mean a CFO? I don't know the reason for that.
Well, the treasurer focuses on the board, right?
Didn't
Two
our
different
bylaws
things.
just say that we needed a CFO that was a non-member?
Good question.
Craig?
Well, let's see here, that looks like CFO is unpaid as well,
Correct.
yeah. So,
I think two different things, Craig.
You should be.
The treasurer works with the numbers,
That's volunteer.
and the financial guy is a policy man person.
well, same thing with, we have secretary in here. Are you secretary?
No, I ain't.
No.
So
he's
you're
secretary,
treasurer,
he's
secretary, which
treasurer.
could be both as per here.
The bylaws say secretary, if second treasurer is combined, then you have an additional at-large member. Which we have. So we combine the positions. A lot of the reason was that usually the treasurer is closer and has to come anyway, so might as well combine the two.
I have a question on you though. I hear you saying that once you step aside for one, Washington County will throw you into the sewers. Aren't you still on the board? And your
Are we still on the
background,
board?
your intelligence is still there?
But eventually, I think that we should open up to new member coming on from Washington County. And this, as a COO, that allows me to keep involved and give advice and help people out.
Don't you do that anyway?
Right. You're gonna do that anyway.
But anyways,
But there's no we need to put in a COO.
Correct.
Then, is what you're
there
saying.
we go. I change CFO to chief operating officer.
Mhm.
Well, he does it.
Yeah.
Where's the CFO definition?
That's right.
Yeah, it's down there.
That's right.
Charter.
No,
I think it just.
What's that
says-
project manual? What's that called on the website? Project manual,
Trying to get it.
what called on website?
our main source of information. that you
Project
go by.
policies, I
Project
think.
policies.
Policies, yeah. And then bylaws.
Well, I don't care one way or another. All of a sudden, we'll have everyone have an office, have a title.
We're all chiefs
There we go.
No, no, there are 3 Indians, so.
But don't do anything.
There's 3 of us. I know.
5,
5,
5.
okay.
I don't care, what's your preference?
So currently our
I
officers are
suppose, I
going,
suppose you could put me as the chief financial officer. I don't care which way or another. I just was trying to simplify it.
chief financial officer shall be appointed by the chair and not be a member. CFO shall perform such duties as the agency may prescribe or designate and any required by law.
We couldn't make you CFO now.
No,
No.
no, I'd have to be off the board.
After.
Have to be off the board.
COO. Good. COO.
So COO,
Question is, do we need a CFO? Because you're the treasurer, and the treasurer maintains all the books.
Okay,
What? Well, you work with her to do.
yes, I,
Let me confirm what the ABO did on that, because I know that there was a lot of discussion of the CEO, CFO could be the same person, or if you needed 2 separate people. Some IDAs have put, like Ally's position in the CFO position for purposes of compliance with ABO. So let me just double check that and see where they're at with that now.
No, I've never been on a high level. I've always felt the CFO and the COO should not be combined position. CFO needs to be separate because the CFO should be overseeing what it does and, you know.
Right.
Well, that's an overall basis, this, not this organization, but we'll see. All right, so look it up and we'll go from there. We got
Okay.
time for this,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
To be determined. Any other come up to us?
so for just the potential COO position, job descriptions, governance or exec committee is gonna take the lead on that and who they report to and all that type of stuff.
Pardon?
Job descriptions and all that other stuff that will come later after we figure out this part.
Well,
Okay. That's the key. Can't start without a job description, if that's the route we wanna go. Gotta know.
it is, it's whatever the board tells them to do.
Okay,
We've got that covered.
got it.
Just kidding,
Nothing,
just kidding.
everything.
Yeah, okay. Anything else on that? Moving forward, public comments? Do we have any public comments? I guess not. I would entertain a motion to go on executive session to talk about. Yeah.
To talk about, employment history, status of CTO
And the administrative.
and the administrator.
And we will be adjourning out of executive session. I don't see any action items coming out of this, just a discussion generally. Then something Warren's brought up and talked about and we thought about, and I think pass some information out. So with that, motion to go to executive session. Moved by Dan, second. Greg,
He nodded before I lifted my hand.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I would ask Ally to Chuck to